Oh no! It's morning!
And that means it's time for the Rotten Mornings. Best way to start your morning off.
Of Rotten Mornings.
Good morning.
I'm Scott.
I'm Matt.
I'm Brandy.
And I'm Grim.
And none of us are exhausted.
Hmm.
Oh man, if you guys have coffee, I would like to take a bath in one.
Yeah.
Not my coffee.
I'm gonna take a bath in your coffee.
Ew.
Then I'm gonna sell coffee bath water on Etsy.
You buy that.
Other sad people.
Oh.
Sad people buy that.
Okay.
Man, yesterday, and we can legitimately say that, yesterday was a hell of a day.
It was. It was a lot. Action-packed day.
You guys want to talk a little bit about what you guys did?
Yes.
I
Feel
peed at a
free
gas
to.
station.
You peed on a gas station.
Yeah.
That's illegal, actually.
I didn't get arrested.
Okay. Well, then it's not illegal.
Yeah.
That's how law works.
Yeah.
We were earlier in the day. We were out at Nightmare on Moulton Street
In Decatur.
in Decatur
We
filming
met
a
some-
commercial.
Met some awesome people there. Had a lot of fun filming.
So, were they open tonight?
No,
No.
they don't. They opened for the last 2 weekends in October.
Oh, okay, but they had most of their cast out,
They had a good handful of people out there. Yeah.
and you guys were able to go through the haunt.
Yes.
Hey, that's awesome.
It's a very neat little place. Like there was a lot packed into the second story of this really old building. And it was gorgeous.
It actually made me think when I was younger, there was a haunt called KDF Slaughterhouse.
Yeah.
And it definitely reminded me of the way that haunt was done with the laid out walls and
Yeah.
like a little second story.
Yeah, that was in Nashville.
Mm-hmm.
I remember the slaughterhouse well.
Hell yeah! And the commercial shoot went well.
Yes.
It did.
And we actually had a friend of ours from an independent film company known as Door 3 Films or Door Number 3 Films that came out and also shot with a couple of shots for us. He's going to help put together a commercial for them.
Yes, David was a great help.
Hell yeah, that's awesome. Sounds like you guys had a blast.
Yes, and then after that,
Well, I think my favorite part about the Nightmare on Moulton experience, honestly, like I loved the sets and the hallways and everything. But just being in the old building itself and knowing that it is truly haunted
and that
was
it used
pretty
to be a
amazing.
speakeasy.
Yeah, it used to be a speakeasy back in like the 20s or 30s, I think it said. And I think they said it used to be a brothel at one point too.
That's fun.
So when you say like all these fucking ghosts, you're right. They are fucking ghosts.
Oh, every night I've woken up to these guys just banging on the door. Nope, they're just banging. Go back to sleep.
Banging on the door.
But it was really neat.
That's fun. I'm glad you guys got to do that. And then, from what I understand from the lives, you then stole the owner of Nightmare to go to a different haunt.
Yes, we
Yes.
did. Jay and David also came with us to Doomsday in Huntsville.
Well, it was more in Athens, I
Or
think.
Athens,
Yeah.
kind of between Huntsville and Athens. But man, just that trip going from one point to another was super fun because they were like almost accidents, and there was this fun experience at a Burger King. And there was people didn't turn their lights on. I mean, like it was just all over like wacky in this like funeral procession of idiots that we are.
It was wacky.
Oh man, The strange adventures we find ourselves in.
Right?
Right.
Yeah, I was actually thinking that tonight as I was very concerned about the haunt that I went to. Like, man, we just go for it.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
just go for it.
Uh,
We went to Doomsday after that, and wow, what a very cool haunt. Like, it is so
Yes.
different from other haunts I've been to, and they are very thematically behind the idea of post-apocalyptic place where, you know,
Definitely.
everybody is like cut off from reality because of the nuclear fallout.
It is very appropriately named. Like the whole thing is built as a post-apocalyptic world. Like it's several years later, and this is what's left. It's beautiful. Like I can't say enough about it. It was beautiful.
Every little building they built you walked through looked like it was crumbling, but it
Yes.
looked beautiful. They had this fucking kick-ass church that was just amazing.
Yes.
The slow church.
Gorgeous.
it looked
Absolutely gorgeous.
it looked very colorful.
It's very colorful.
Yes.
I love that because with a lot of haunts, I like the campy, and when it's like over the top, neon colors and stuff, it's that 80s horror, like punk horror, if that makes any sense.
Agreed. Agreed. But it really was just gorgeous. Everything was lit really well. Each scene was separate and designed perfectly. I loved it. The corn maze was amazing. It was
amazing.
It was amazing.
Both corn and
but it was
maze.
such a huge cornfield for one thing, and we did not realize that walking into it.
You guys got to Grim got to go out there with you guys.
Yes.
Grim, what did you think about the Doomsday Haunt?
Hello. He's talking to you. What did you think about Doomsday?
We went to Doomsday.
Not exactly a ringing endorsement, but an endorsement nonetheless.
She enjoyed herself while she was there. Now she's done with us.
I understand. I understand. Well, that's super fun. Do they have like a midway?
Yes, they have a
Yes.
very cool midway, and they have when they first open, they do this show where they bring out the Doomsday tractor truck and shoot off fucking
Fireworks
flamethrowers and
and
fireworks, and
the actors jump off and start terrorizing the guests.
I love how personable and interactive the actors were there, and
Yes.
they all played off of each other so well too.
We had a few different favorites that we got to talk to enough to know their character names while they were in scene. Right off the bat, when you first start off in the Haunted Woods, it's Mr. and Mrs. Smiley.
Yes.
And the way they played off of each other was just
And they
fantastic.
could keep going forever.
And then there was this other character that we absolutely loved that I still can't figure out how to say it right. It was Strocked or something. It was
Something.
doctors spelled backwards, basically.
Yeah.
Oof.
But it was awesome. It was awesome. She
Yeah.
did amazing. They
She
all
knows
did,
how
really.
to hold an audience.
That's super important. That's awesome.
There
I-
was a
You guys-
mask that I've never seen anything like before that was like a two-faced pig with two snouts pointing out in different directions that was just absolutely gorgeous.
Very creative.
What was this?
It was a two-faced pig mask.
Oh, a mask. I'm sorry. I thought you
Yeah.
said map. I was really confused.
Yeah.
Mask. Wow. With like a couple of faces coming out. That's kind of
Yeah.
cool.
But it was awesome. So, like, again, sticking with that post-apocalyptic world theme where you've got, radiated creatures and people and making moonshine out in the woods and just crazy. But it was awesome.
Um, I like the idea you guys were talking about them having a welcome to the haunt, kickoff to the night. Halloween Horror Nights does a thing like that before their gates open. But the big one that stands out to me, so few haunts do that, but the big one that stands out to me is House of Shock used to do that, and they would have like this big giant like metal ass like crazy show while you're standing in line before the haunt opened. I think that's really cool. I wish more people did that.
Yes.
Yep, we all agree.
So
Hell yeah.
why don't you tell us some about where you were at?
Okay, so I went out to South Bay Nightmare. And really I just heard about that haunt this year. It's in Coden, Alabama, right on the all the way down at the very bottom of Alabama. You have to drive so far, and there's nothing anywhere around it, and you're like, uh, did GPS take me to a weird place? But then finally you see it, and I was really really happy with it. We got to go through, and it was just two of us that went through as a group, and the actors were really fun, but they had some areas where you go into an area that's not well lit, and as you progress through like the hallway, it gets darker and darker until you are just in pitch black darkness.
Oh,
And
that's cool.
yeah, and the way that they do it is so innovative, and I think so. There's like I don't want to give too much away, but like there's stuff like hanging from the ceiling, and it's not a lot at the beginning, but by the end, it's completely just you're like walking through heavy carpet.
Nice.
Nice.
And I think that like unless I'm crazy, I think the texture changes from like a soft fabric to like a trash baggy kind of thing. And I could be wrong, it could, but it was just like I am in pitch black. I was in pitch black so much.
That's
The the,
awesome.
the first room felt like Phobia Factory,
Mm.
and I was like, okay, well maybe that's kind of like this. And then nope, it was not. They there's kind of a maze area in it that look, I'm not saying that if you were larger than me, you couldn't go through it, but I am saying that me had a hard time getting through it. It was a fat Scott squeeze, I'm just going to tell you.
I'm glad you did get through it, Scott.
And it goes on for a while. I was like, how long is this damn maze? Like, this is awesome. And it went through like an appropriate amount of time, and then that was just fantastic. All the actors were really great. When I came out on the other side, when we got done with the haunt, the owners of the haunt were there, and they were like, "Are you rotten?" And I'm like, "Well, I'm one of them." And they're like, "We saw your jacket." And we're like, "Oh, can't believe that Rotten's here." And I was like, "Oh man,
That's
that's so
awesome.
cool." Yeah. Uh,
Yay.
so Patty and Randall, the owners, they actually joined me for the live, so they got to talk,
Yeah, we saw them on your live. That's
Yeah,
fucking awesome.
that's fantastic.
and they're just the nicest people, and they're super excited about their haunt, and apparently they've been doing it for a bit, but like they're like, no, we're gonna like really dive in and really make this thing something awesome. But and what they've got is great. So if you're ever down way down south in Alabama, you should go check that one out. It's a little treasure.
That
That's
was
awesome.
that's one of the things that we haven't mentioned about Doomsday is when we were in the main room talking to Mrs. Smiley. That at one point she's like looking at our shirts and she's like, "Wait a minute."
I think it was Mr. Smiley that walked up and started pointing at our different shirts
and going like rotten, 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 and then he was like, "Oh my God, this is rotten," and they're like, "Yeah, we're rotten," and they're like, okay, hold on 1 second."
And then it was
awesome.
like they even more stepped up their need to just keep us there in that front room and keep talking to us. It was awesome.
Hey guys, we're rotten. Please change nothing. We want the same thing.
Well, except for when they're like, "Hey, if an actor gets close to you, be sure to tell me. We want to make sure they don't do that." And we're all like, "Well, can we request that?"
Just
and
a
at
little...
one point, Mrs. Smiley turned to Mr. Smiley and said, "I'm basically just telling them the rules for no reason. We know this, right?"
Fair enough. That's awesome. Hell
And
yeah,
something
dude.
we forgot to mention about Nightmare on Moulton too. Matt and Grimm discovered a new son.
Yeah, we got a son.
His name is Blueberry Waffles, apparently.
Yeah.
I heard mention of this Blueberry Waffles in one of the lives.
Yeah.
But,
Apparently, he farts cotton candy.
And that's your stepson.
Yes, and he's my stepson.
that's...
It was very strange.
Yeah, he seems like a very confused child.
He was a very confused child. Poor boy grew up with a different parent.
Yeah.
Doesn't know the way of the circus.
Just discovered all of us now and has now decided no wonder he's rotten.
Fair enough. Speaking of fair enough, I had it mentioned to me tonight. Someone's like, they said, that tracks. And then they're like, damn it, I've been listening to the podcast too much. Like, what are you talking about? And she's like, well, Matt always says that tracks. And I was like, I say that tracks. And she's like, no. You say that's fair. He says that tracks.
Yes.
I'm like, that's fair. She's like,
Hilarious.
so I thought that was funny.
That is funny.
The friend I had with me in the live has actually been in every episode of Strips.
Is she the back?
Mm-hmm.
Rotten's back.
Yeah. Rotten's back. All right.
I always thought that was a joke since like season 3. That's right. Rotten's back for a season 3.
Yeah.
For based on absolutely no request at all.
You said you didn't want it, so here it is.
Enjoy it.
Now suck it.
Not.
Shut your mouths.
Back by popular absence of demand.
Now that is something else that happened last night. Another episode of Rotten Strips.
It was very strippy.
About the prior episode of Rotten Strips,
and we don't have to.
Which the episode I like to call the neckisode in 3X.
Yep.
3 necks.
3 necks. And that was super fun.
It was. I really liked seeing your footage from the crowds at Universal Studios.
It turns out you're a lot more interesting when you speed up what you're saying because all of the traumatic pauses are removed.
Mm-hmm.
It does feel like it takes extra concentrated listening effort to make sure you catch what it is you're saying.
Yeah, there was a lot crammed into a little tiny space. Like me wearing a shirt.
Well, I mean, it was a whole lot of stuff going on.
Yeah. And tonight's episode or last night's episode of Strips was good because it was a lot of different things, a lot of different segments, and it's strippy. It's good.
And you liked the idea of all of us being dead.
No.
And you especially like the whole Tim telling the crowd that he bought you a penis pump.
No. God.
We told you he had recorded a special message for you.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
He does, though. Every time we go out there, the first thing he asks us is, "Where's Scott?" He's always looking for you. Now we know why.
Yeah, it's always awesome. He loves saying things like, "Man, I wish Scott was here. He's the best of you guys," because he's a dick. I don't mean he's saying you're a dick. I mean I'm saying Tim is a dick.
Oh. I mean, both would be true statements, though.
Yeah.
This is like one of those tests where it's like, well, I mean, a couple of answers are right, but pick the best answer.
Yeah.
There you go.
There are no stupid answers, just stupid people with stupid answers.
I had to school somebody today because they're like, no, man, you can ask anything. There are no stupid questions. I was like, look, I was in education for 10 years.
There
I'm
are a
gonna tell
lot
you right
of
now,
stupid
there's
questions.
tons of dumbass questions. Like if you're talking to me on the phone and you're like, oh shit, where's my phone? Well, you have all the data for that. I don't know why you're asking me on the
I was
phone.
thinking more like, is water wet? That's a pretty dumbass question.
Yeah, but like, is it?
That's a good question.
No, it's not.
It is, because to be wet, water has to be on you. And is water on water?
Yes, of course it is. On a molecular structure, water is 100% covered in water. I mean, like, that's the easiest of the scientifics.
I've seen a raindrop fall on another raindrop.
Right, but you had to have the initial raindrop for the second raindrop to fall.
Oh my God. You're misunderstanding the fact that everything is a structure of matter, and it's at a small, like, water is not a giant cell. It's a bunch of little tiny cells. And to be wet, a thing just has to be covered in water. So a particle of matter that is a part of water is covered in water. Therefore, water is wet.
I mean, you just said a whole bunch of words that didn't prove your point, but I'm okay moving forward.
You don't think water is wet?
How could water be wet?
Oh my fucking God. I just told you.
I don't understand why we took this turn, but I
Do
blame
you know what water is?
I know what water
The
is.
molecular structure of water actually has a chemical statement. Do you know what that statement is?
It doesn't have a statement.
H2O. You know what the 2 past the H is for?
It's 2 parts
Hydrogen
for 1 part oxygen.
Which is fucking water. And if there's 2 of them, that means one of them has another one on it. Therefore, it's fucking wet.
Does this shell game work for other people? It's not really working here.
I don't think he understands, Matt.
I don't think he does. It's okay. He doesn't understand time travel either.
Now what?
At any rate, tonight we have some other fun stuff coming up. Right?
I don't know if we do.
Where are you guys at tonight?
In the living room?
It's Saturday.
Oh.
And Saturday night,
we'll be at the haunted chicken house.
That's right.
After that, we'll be back in the living room.
Yeah. Grim will be at Hellbilly Hollow.
But I'll be here too.
And Danny Boy will be at the City of Chaos.
Oh yeah, I wonder how his night went last night. God damn it.
He's here, but he's at home now. He was home when we got home last night, but we didn't see him last night.
I hear you. Yeah, so guys, if you guys are out about at haunts tonight, go check out Hellbilly Hollow. See Grim there, City of Chaos, and see Tommy there, and the Haunted Chicken House is where Matt and Brandy will be.
Yep.
And I will be somewhere. I don't know where I'll be yet. Frantically trying to make an episode of Strips.
He also does not want you to have the ability to find him.
Fair enough. That tracks. I mean, what?
Wow, you're stealing my fucking catchphrase now?
It's
That's fair. I'm Scott.
okie dokie. All right, guys. Anything else we need to announce?
You said Beetlejuice.
Beetlejuice?
Oh, well, that's Beetlejuice, yeah. We forgot to say that part.
Beetlejuice.
Any other announcements? Any other things coming up?
Beetlejuice!
That.
Beetlejuice.
Cool. We're going to take a 60-second break, and when we come back, I don't know why I say 60 seconds. It's never 60 seconds.
Beetlejuice.
We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to take a quick break.
It's not working.
Take a quick break. And when we come back, we're going to talk about Beetlejuice. Okay, bye. Oh, I forgot to click the... should have the button ready. Loaded.
Coming this October, as night falls on a quarantined prison somewhere in Vincent, Alabama, vampires have taken over at Hellbilly Hollow, and things will never be the same.
Come visit Hellbilly Hollow in Vincent, Alabama. You'll have the best night of your life.
Yes, we'd love to have you in our neck of the woods.
The wait is driving us batty.
This year, we've raised the stakes. Join us.
Join us. One of Alabama's top-rated haunts. This is the one for you.
Hellbilly Hollow Haunted House Attraction in Vincent, Alabama. Open at 7 p.m. every Friday and Saturday in October.
Tickets available at the door.
Exclusive merchandise, tasty concessions, live entertainment,
well-lit bathrooms.
For more information, check us out on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, and at hellbillyhollow.com. And we will see you there.
Join us. Don't go that way, man. You know who's back there? It's that serial killer from that movie.
What? Why are they here? I thought they were supposed to be chasing the kids at summer camp or invading the nightmares of the kids on that one street.
Well, they're all here. Brought in to fight off the mutant chickens, and now it's a horror free-for-all.
Oh. Where do I buy tickets?
The Haunted Chicken House in Heflin is the largest tourist attraction in East Alabama.
open every weekend in October. Tickets are $15 per attraction, 2 for $25 and 3 for $40.
Ride the hayride of horrors.
Visit the Haunted Chicken House.
Defy death in the infamous Crazy Train.
For more information, check us out on Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, and thehauntedchickenhouse.com. And we'll see you there.
And we're back.
Bleep bloop.
and we're bleeping and blooping.
Bleep bloop.
I like it. Today's cryptid that we'll be talking about is the Nuckalavee. Oh, that's right, on the podcast. The Nuckalavee is actually a cryptid that Matt had brought to my attention. I wasn't even aware of this thing. But
I
it's
sure did.
I did it.
Did I do that?
Matt knows things.
Yeah, this is a horse-like demon from Orcadian mythology, and it combines equine, horse, and human elements.
And it's one of those big like contradictions because it also it's a seafaring horse human that none of those things are normally seafaring.
Yeah.
Well, one of the things we read said that there is no description of whatever form it takes when it's actually in water. And it just says what form it takes when it's on land, which is that of a demon horse-man hybrid.
It is the cruelest of all the Fae.
They say that like its breath is thought to wilt crops and sicken livestock. So it's
And
just
bring upon plagues. I think that it was the Nuckalavee that, brought COVID.
possible for sure.
Those bitches.
I didn't realize. I'm glad you brought up the thing about it being like it didn't have like the sea dweller form, like it doesn't have a description for its sea dwelling form, and so you got this like massive horse demon that's got a human kind of growing out of it, and then it runs into the ocean and just is like, oh shit, and now it's foam.
How's that?
Yeah, primarily horses and humans and half-horse humans have not synonymously had much luck with traversing under the sea.
Yeah. While now there is a such thing as a seahorse, and there is seamen. So
You don't need it.
okay, that's fair.
Nuckalaves are strongly built and stand nearly 6 feet tall at their horse heads and around 9 feet at their humanoid heads, with their weight of nearly 2,000 pounds.
It's so crazy. Like this thing is it's not like a centaur where it's half horse, half man. Nope, it's 100. It's all man, all horse.
Yes, it's full horse, half man.
I think it's more closely related to a Kelpie, except I think Kelpies shapeshift.
Yes, Kelpies I think are more known as shapeshifters, but it is a very similar lore and description, except for the fact that the Nuckalavee describes it in like it's described in such a weird way, but the accounts do tend to vary. But I know one of the descriptions I looked at was like it was as if a man's torso was coming out of the back of a horse, and then the head is like 10 times larger than a normal head.
Which head?
Something I read where it said the head looks like it's ready to fall off the human head.
Yeah, the human head.
Oh, the human head is bigger than it. The human head on the human torso is bigger than it should be.
Yeah.
They also said that it was basically that. So you imagine a horse with a human riding it, but it's not riding it. It's literally stuck into its back without legs.
Yes.
Then it has no skin. It has yellow veins with black blood flowing through it as it pumps and courses through the nervous system.
And you see like all the musculature moving around, but no skin at all.
Does this like when you guys are describing this? Can you guys kind of picture the human bodies exhibit?
Yeah, they split the monk bodies or whatever.
Yeah, where it's got like their skinned preserved bodies, but there's like one that's like riding a horse.
A horse, yeah. They had that in the movie House on Haunted Hill.
Oh, okay.
They had those sculptures in the very first room of the House on Haunted Hill.
Yeah, they sure did. I had forgotten all about that. And then the other thing I was thinking too about this was for some reason, and like I don't know, but for some reason, Bram Stoker's Dracula, like Dracula's armor. Do y'all remember that?
Sort of.
Vaguely.
So it was a lot like the imagery from The Cell, but in Francis Ford Coppola's Bram Stoker's Dracula, before he becomes the vampire, he's like going to the king and he's like, I've done all this, and he's like, you're banished or whatever. But he's wearing this red armor that's like ribbed everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
But like, what's weird to me about this too is we hear about we have always been told the stories of how like Native Americans saw the Europeans riding horses, and we're told like, oh, the Native Americans thought that was one creature, right?
Hmm.
But where this story comes from, they were accustomed to seeing people riding horses.
Yes.
Like it almost seems backwards, right?
True, but it also, there were many tales saying that it kind of, as if it wasn't completely native to Scotland, it was more like it was inherited from the Norse, I believe, like Vikings brought it there,
Yeah, they talk
potentially.
about how they sort of combined the water horse with another creature.
It was really big near the Orkney Islands.
The Orkney
Yeah,
Island?
and they were very much Islander stories, all the stuff that we saw
Yeah,
in the
the only
descriptions.
first-hand account of the description came from a local Islander,
Tomas.
Okay. So, that's just so odd that they
You
would
want to
just
read
that they would
this?
describe it as like they would describe it as a human on a horse's body, and like if they hadn't been exposed to horses, they wouldn't have said horse's body.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
True.
So I'm gonna let Brandy read the etymology here, because there's something interesting in this that I like, but I suck at reading, and there's a lot of hard words in it.
So, the late 19th century saw an upsurge of interest in transcribing folklore, but the recorders used inconsistent spelling and frequently anglicized words, thus, the same entity could be given different names. The term Nuckalavee derives from Orcadian Nuckalavee, and according to Orkney resident and 19th century folklorist Walter Trail Dennison, means devil of the sea. The same demon is called a Muckalevee in Shetland, where it was considered a nasty sea trow or sea devil. And Samuel Hibbert, an antiquarian of the early 19th century, considered the component nuck of the Nuckalavee's name to be cognate with both the Nick and Old Nick, a name sometimes given to the devil of Christian belief, and with the Latin nacare, to kill.
So that made me think of something that's very interesting. Why are there so many similarities between Santa and Satan?
Like Old Nick and Saint Nick?
Exactly. Jolly old Saint Nick.
So.
And Santa, you just move that in and boom, Satan.
Satan. Just
Satan.
You don't even have to take his renter's application. Just move him right in. Satan.
And he's always dressed in all red.
Yeah. I was wondering what part of the etymology was going to be the thing that stood out to you, Matt. I was thinking it was devil of the sea because it sounds like chicken of the sea.
Yeah. Dolphin. It's the chicken of the sea.
It's the tastiest of the seas.
There is one thing that can control the Nuckalavee.
Oh, here we go.
It is the mother of the sea. And she is believed to protect the islands from evil creatures and hush storms that could trouble many Orkney families.
Now, does that actually say the mother of the? Okay.
Yeah,
because the one I read earlier
Mither.
it said Mither.
Yeah, Mither of the sea, or Mither of the sea.
Mither of the sea.
Mother of the Sea. That's very.
But yeah, the thing I read earlier said something about that being the absolute only creature that had any form of control over the Nuckalavee.
But there is one way to avoid the Nuckalavee. That is by carrying a talisman to show that you are not guilty of any wrongdoing. Such talismans take the form of seaweed garlands, horsehair soaked in brine, or vials of sanctified seawater. Druids and priests of nature deities also supposedly possess the power to calm a Nuckalavee's fury and convince it to return to the sea, typically only after it has dealt with those guiltiest of whatever offense roused it. It cannot go back to its resting place without taking a life first, at least one life.
God
Now-
damn it. This sucks because this goes right into Matt's theory because this is like carry a talisman that means you're not on the naughty list.
Exactly.
Yes,
Exactly.
But it's interesting that the talisman would reside in seaweed, considering that one of the beliefs of the bringing about the Nuckalavee and its vengeance is the burning of seaweed or kelp, and that the smell is offensive to it, so it brings on its own bad odors and smells to cause plagues and
it was blamed
pestilence.
for a particular plague of cattle on the islands
Yeah.
that spread throughout other places that were burning seaweed.
Oh, its breath could bring it.
Yeah, it was his
Yes.
breath.
Yeah.
So, and that's what I was going to ask you guys. Like, what were the descriptions are like? It has a terrifying visage, but it also has super halitosis.
Yeah.
Yes, like super halitosis.
It'll bring a plague. Like, dude, a Tic Tac would help so much, on your Tinder
Right.
profile.
Right.
But,
Like I've smelled some pretty rank breath, but I don't think I've ever come across somebody that could open its mouth and an entire village or community be able to smell it. Like that's bad.
That's
Yeah,
fair.
okay.
But
Yeah,
besides,
Brandy's acting like she's never been to Heavily Hollow. That's funny.
Ah,
Your damn mouth. I hate how true that is.
no, I'm just saying Tic Tacs. But besides bad breath smell and scary looky, does it have another thing that like it about it like it attacks people in a different way? Have y'all seen anything like that?
I haven't seen anywhere where it says how it kills or attacks people.
No, because it still only says that one account from Tomas is the only one to survive a confrontation with the beast.
Now, I'll tell you this. Grim said the thing about having a talisman shit. We read one other thing that said the Nuckalavee does not like any kind of fresh water, that it has to have seawater, and that it doesn't come out when it's raining. So it's been attributed to a bunch of droughts. But they also said if you're being pursued by one, you could just kind of like scurry across like a river or a lake, and it'll be like, "Fuck, I can't go in that water."
Which I've noticed that a lot about in a lot of folklore, especially Celtic folklore with fae creatures running fresh water. It at bare minimum will at least slow them down.
Well, I mean, you literally could just turn a garden hose on this fucker, and he'd be like, "Ah, fuck, good water."
I mean, this is like this terrifying thing is turning into like a big wuss. Like it's antisocial. It has bad breath. If you've got like water, it's like, no, raining, not coming out today. You guys have
So
your own
it's
bad
basically
breath.
like a hippie.
Yeah. But talking about the running water thing, that's also one of the older and less and less common things to where you deal with the vampire that way.
Yeah.
The whole reason like Dracula had come to America was that he had to have his home soil in his coffin. That was the only way he could cross the ocean, the moving water.
Yeah.
So I don't know what that is, but that's an interesting thing, like the how that works, right?
Yeah.
The
I don't know.
Nuckalavee has fins on his legs.
It has fins on its legs.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's see if we can read the account from Tomas. Let's see. So we've mentioned the man's torso attached to a horse's back as if it were a rider. The male torso has no legs, but its arms can reach the ground from its position on top of the equine body, the legs of which have fin-like appendages. The torso has a large head, possibly as much as 3 feet in diameter, that rolls back and forth. The monster described by Tomas has 2 heads. The equine head has an enormous gaping mouth that exudes a pungent toxic vapor and a single giant eye like a burning red flame. A particularly gruesome detail is that the Nuckalavee has no skin. Black blood courses through yellow veins, and the pale sinews and powerful muscles are visible as a pulsating mass. And other reports state that the creature resembles a centaur, but the different narratives are just very inconsistent in the demon's description, though.
Yeah. Um. I. I. Yeah. That's really interesting. I forgot about it. It just had the single eye. I'm glad you brought that up. This other description talks about it having that wide mouth that jutted out like a pig snout. And it also says like the human arms are like long ape-like arms instead of like
Yeah.
the humans. But you're talking about the head rolling around. Um, and you reminded me, someone had sent me this image earlier where they were trying to, or someone was trying to disprove the validity of centaurs, and they were saying that baby horses can walk within a few minutes of being born, but baby humans are like fucking useless. So you've got these horses running around, and like the baby part or baby centaurs is just a baby flopping around up top.
Well, I don't know if these are actually born or if they're spawned, or I don't know. I don't know if they can reproduce in any way.
That's yeah. I see what you're saying there. Like, does it even come from any like? Are there even a breeding thing for it? Right.
Yeah.
Well, that's weird.
The Mither of the Sea is an Orcadian sea goddess, and she can imprison the Nuckalavee for months at a time in the ocean.
Yeah, it says that she normally keeps him confined during the summer months.
Huh.
So vacation.
Little. It takes a little vacay.
Yep.
And you know what? It deserves one.
I think so too.
All right, guys. Well, is there anything else we want to share about this crazy, skinless, half man but all horse, but one eye, bad breath, but antisocial, afraid of rain guy?
They like to stay in sea caves.
Oh, okay. You did want to share that. I was trying to keep that from people because I wanted to have a little bit of mystery, but that's right. Sea caves.
Oh,
This was actually kind of fun, huh?
Yeah.
The Nuckalavees have no capacity to reproduce. The appearance of most proves a complete mystery and grim surprise.
It's a grim surprise.
Yes.
I'm looking through this article and it says it's called 17 Facts About the Nuckalavee, the creepiest animal you've never heard of. And most of it we've already covered, but this one in particular stood out, and it says this: there are no good qualities attributed to the Nuckalavee.
No redeeming characteristics.
How do you tame one? You don't tame one.
You don't. Oh, look, here's how you can tame it. You cannot tame it.
Methods of taming unavailable. Ah,
They
man,
live
that's
per week on only a few bites of aquatic sea life and are content to lie in torpor for months and even years.
so they could still be out there.
Oh, yeah.
Forever.
Just waiting on release from the mither of the sea.
Yeah.
Well, guys, that's the Nuckalavee.
Yep, crazy.
Crazy thing that we didn't know as much about as we do now, and if you didn't know about it at all, you know at least one or two more things.
But
Yeah,
Oh,
maybe.
oh, they are avengers of people who ruin plant life. No, they're avengers of the plant life when people ruin it.
seaweed.
Yeah.
Hell
So
yeah.
anybody who is dumping waste or contributing to toxic runoff or polluting shit, hopefully one of these come out and kill your ass.
Oh wow.
I guess that's why wearing the seaweed is a talisman, because it proves you didn't destroy it.
But wearing it, you did destroy it.
Yeah.
Maybe
Oh,
they're kind
that.
of stupid.
I don't know.
I don't either.
So, yeah.
Well, there it is, guys.
There
Well,
it is.
you guys stay rotten.
Stay rotten.
Stay rotten.
Join us next time for another episode of Rotten Mornings.